Welcome to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever seen a horse who could talk? With your host, Louisa Barton, who really wants to be a famous rider. She really loves to ride fast. Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care.
Truth is, I have horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Enjoy the show.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, they're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
Are you freezing?
I was. It's cold. Hey, Louisa, it's cold outside.
It's cold outside. And you know, I got this new Piranha shirt at the TT Distributors event this weekend, and I love it, so I'm wearing it because I told Ben I would have it on for the show. But I do have long johns underneath it, so if I look like the Michelin Man, it's because I have lots of layers. That's my excuse.
It looks like Smash Raps made the shirt.
I know, doesn't it? It's great. I love it. It's fabulous. We have a wonderful lineup for you for the Horse Talk Show this evening. We have Dr. Adam Cayot from Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, and guess what he's talking about? He's talking about cold weather issues. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. There are quite a lot for horses in this sort of weather. And unfortunately, we don't have Jeremy and Heather Reynolds in the studio with us because they were very unwell and didn't want to share that with us.
Thank
but we
goodness.
do have, yes, really, we do have some wonderful pre-recorded segments at the farm with them we're going to share with you. We also have an introduction to my mechanic.
No, my mechanic.
Wide Automotive. Brian Weidmiller is going to be here with us. And he is here live in the studio with us, so we're very excited about that. And because Pete missed TT Distributors' special Customer Appreciation Day, we're going to give him a recap of all of that.
Very good.
Which was wonderful.
It went out of my mind. I was like, we talk about it every week, but I didn't know what day of the week it was as far as date-wise.
Oh, dear.
I knew it was on a Saturday. I just didn't know the 16th was last Saturday.
Well, we were there, and it was really cool because the trucks, the Piranha truck and the... I'm not going to share too much because we're going to share that later.
Okay.
But anyway, it was awesome. But we've got some news and events for you. The first thing we want to start with, very important, is a winter weather advisory. And this is an important message because even though we might not be as cold as England and we might not be as cold as up north, this is very cold for us in, what did Brian say? I'm Floridaized, I think. Yes, I'm Floridaized. I am. And so I get cold even. And so think about, you know, staying inside when you can, because you're not used to being this cold. Also be very safe on the roads.
The switch of temperature, like we were just in the 70s,
yes,
and now it's dropping.
Yes, and extra precautions for your horses for sure. Extra blankets, especially if you have clipped horses, think about that. Some extra hay, don't go doubling it, but some extra hay.
2 days before the cold.
Yes, that's right. And then make sure you got them out of that wind because we are expecting some wind chills in the 20s and some hard freezes tonight through Saturday. So it's going to be a chilly, chilly week for those of us that are Floridaized. So stay warm. Unfortunately, I wish I had better news for you on the missing horse from Mayaca City, from the wonderful Florida Beach horse people. I can tell you I have been up all night for a solid week and a half doing my detective work because that's what I do and I can't sleep, so I'm trying to find this horse. And I do actually have some potential ideas and leads that I can't share on air, but the hunt is not over and the $10,000 reward stands. Cloud was last seen on January 10th in her field. She is a 16-year-old grey-white mare draft cross, and she went missing in Mayaca City. 941-600-3002 if you have any information that would lead to finding this horse, and we do believe that she is still alive, and we're going to try and bring her home, so help us if you can.
Very good.
Dog training clinic. Pete, gold-plated gun dogs.
Oh.
Yes, this is a professional gun dog and bird dog trainer who specializes in training hunting breeds, teaching obedience, and more. Where? Where else?
The Ocala Dog Ranch.
I know, right? That's 440 Southwest 110th Avenue, Ocala. When? February 8th. You can get signed up today at ocaladogranch.com. So get signed up now, and should be a great, great time. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Brian, he sounds like a good guy, and he's doing a dog training clinic, and I'm not even going to try that last name. Ocala Dog Ranch, they're awesome. A lot is still going on with the fires. There's still a lot of recovery. There's still a lot of issues in California, in LA, and they are actually evacuating another racetrack right now to move those horses to Del Mar to get them out of that area as they're at high risk. So, and there are still winds and there are still fires, and they're still working on putting those out. So our prayers and thoughts go out. You can still help with donation items and GoFundMe's, and we have lots of information on our page.
Just don't pray for too much rain. We know what happened in North Carolina.
Exactly. And honestly, still include those folks in your prayers as well, because there are still lots of opportunities to donate in Western North Carolina. A lot of people are still in tents and camping in much colder weather than we're dealing with in Florida. So please definitely do all that you can to help with those situations. Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care does have some recipient mare contracts still open and available for 2025. So if you're looking for that perfect mare, she's at their repro center for sure. And by the way, we'll be there at the end of the month also to capture some great information on their repro center in Summerfield.
Wow.
Yeah. The Love of the Horse is coming up. It's the Ocala 5K, February. We're going to do it, right? February 1st?
February 1st. I'm going to be rooting from somewhere other than where you're running.
We're not running. I already told Kylie we're walking. The Love of the Horse, 3 incredible vet clinics in our area, equine veterinary clinics, have come together to help the Foundation for the Horse. All the money for this goes to the Foundation for the Horse, and Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care has partnered up to help this 5K happen. So if you like to walk or run, you can join us, and you can look up for the Love of the Horse Ocala 5K for more information on that. Quick shout out for our friends at Florida Farrier Service. I love this sign, Equine Education Facility, which is just what we need here in Ocala, Marion County area for our students who want to be a farrier, blacksmith when they grow up. We love that we have this facility, but I'm doing a shout out for them because I got a little behind on my keeping up with Frosty's feet, and boy oh boy, he knows when Clayton's team are not trimming his feet, and so he had a little 2-week stay down at Florida Farrier Service while we got some radiographs and got him caught back up. So sometimes it's the owner that, you know, misses the mark. But anyway, Frosty is back.
I know 2 other of your horses that haven't gone for a while.
Well, actually, they're donkeys, but yes.
Donkeys.
They are, and they're in need, yes. Something else we need to schedule. But I just want to say what excellent people Clayton and Terry are, how kind they are to have Frosty stay. And when I got him back to Anne's farm, he ran down the dirt paddock that he goes in full speed ahead with a buck and a gallop, and it was nice to see him back moving properly again. So yes, all good news. So if Louisa can keep up with that, we'll be okay. Hey, DAC has a new product real quick before we close. They have DAC Snack horse treats. You should check them out, feeddac.com. And we'll be back after this with Dr. Adam Cayot. Stay with us. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the first half of the Horse Talk Show, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Also, thank you to our supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha Animal Health, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, Ocala Dog Ranch, Wide Automotive, and Reach Video Production. This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need. with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing, offering great communication, quality fencing, and all done in a timely manner. Reliable service with horse safety in mind all the time. Also offering customized residential, vinyl, wood, aluminium, and chain link fences services. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe. For more information, find Equifence of Florida on Facebook now. At Florida HVAC Services, air conditioning is a mathematical process. There's no guessing in what size unit your home needs. Florida HVAC Services uses manual J-heat load calculations in diagnosing to guarantee your home is sized properly to control humidity and temperature, thus providing comfort all year round. With flat rate pricing, trained experts, and total peace of mind. For more information, go to flhvacservices.com. They are the air you breathe. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. We're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second segment of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, they're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Bart.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And if you tuned in last week, then you know that Dr. Adam Cayot from Peterson Smith is located at HITS, or Horse Shows in the Sun, for the entire season, which is fantastic for whether you need some questions about your horse, about performance, so that your horse can compete better, any sort of treatment or routine treatment, or even, God forbid, some sort of emergency, a colic or something like that. So Dr. Adam Cayot is there, and we talked to him a little bit about...
It's cold outside.
Here he is. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative. I am here at HITS, or Horse Shows in the Sun, and we are visiting Dr. Adam Cayot at Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. They have a location here for the season, which is incredible. Dr. Cayot is on hand to help with any emergencies or even any routine concerns that you might have. But some of the things, Dr. Cayot, that we face during this strange weather for Florida. I didn't used to be cold here in the winter when I first moved to Florida. Now I'm several layers when it gets down a little bit cooler, like a big chicken. But it certainly is strange and different for Florida for us to have this extremely cold weather. Not so much in January, obviously we do have it, but the rapid down to the 30s, and then we go back up to this beautiful sunny weather, which is certainly different for horses. And we've got horses coming in during show season like this from all different parts of the country where the weather is different. So lots of strange changes for horses and even for the local horses here. So share with us some of the things that you tend to see at this time of year and have to address.
Well, the most common thing that you see is going from summer, autumn grasses and things that horses eat to winter diet, right? So you have less grass that's being consumed, or the grass that's being consumed certainly is not as moist and doesn't have the water content that, and might even be brown and somewhat just dormant. And then you start feeding a lot of hay this time of year, and those all present challenges, because what typically happens is that as the weather cools down, horses don't drink as much. They start being fed a drier feed stuff, and so that leads to an excess dryness of their feed, which predisposes them to issues of colic. Colic is the main thing that we see during the cold weather months, and a lot of that has to do with, one, horses drink less because sometimes they're prima donnas and they don't want to stick their noses in cold water, which happens all the time. So they don't drink as much. Obviously, they aren't as expending as much sweating and that sort of thing. So they aren't going through fluid or losing fluids from their body as much. But then on top of that, you're fed drier feed stuff. So as that dries out, then it's more likely to become impacted, and will, impaction colics are, synonymous with cold weather. Typically, those aren't your necessarily violent colics, and a lot of times they're not surgical colics. You can treat them medically and they do fine, but the horse that has those sorts of things are, you'll see them laying down more than normal. They'll just seem kind of blah, won't necessarily run a fever, but they'll just seem kind of not doing right kind of thing. And so really, really typical to see. And down here, I mean, a lot of horses that are here during this time of year have been body clipped for shows, so they don't have their long winter coats, and they will get cold, and they'll, you can see them shiver and that sort of thing, because I've had calls in the past and my horse is out there shaking, and I've never seen him do that before. Well, they're cold and they're shivering, and when it gets wet and rains, and it's they say it's supposed to be tonight and tomorrow, in the 40s, and they get wet, then they tend to have a tendency to get really cold. So, make sure you have your blankets and that sort of thing, and try to keep them warm. But those are the typical things that we see. Certainly, when you're inside more, you might not be turned out as much because of the cold. Horses are concentrated in an area in the stable. They're more likely to share bugs between each one another. You might tend to see more coughs, more coughing, and that sort of thing that ends up happening. So those sorts of things are things that are very common to see.
And what we tend to try to recommend to people is, if you're, and I think Pete and I mentioned this on the last show, if your horse is not used to having a lot of hay, and you're thinking, I'm being so kind, doubling the hay for the horse because it's cold. Right. And obviously eating the hay does warm the body up. Mm-hmm. So that is a good thing, but we never recommend doubling hay or increasing hay rapidly, only introducing it slowly, mm-hmm. and certainly not going and dumping a new bale of coastal out in the middle of your field that the horses aren't used to eating, and you think, oh, I'm helping them keep warm, but they've already decreased in the amount of water that they're drinking, and now you're giving a lot more dry hay, as you mm-hmm. mentioned, and that can cause a bad situation. So introducing everything gradually is really important. And something you've mentioned in prior interviews is increasing the salt in the feed to help make them thirstier.
Stimulate them to drink.
Because that will help them keep drinking mm-hmm. when they don't feel like it. And then obviously if you're up north, making sure you don't have frozen water troughs is important, right? That's
all that stuff.
That's a big thing. And then also, one of the things I always recommend to people is keep your water source as clean as possible, because you don't want a horse to have any excuse not to drink. Right. You want it to be as appealing as possible to the horse. Sure. So I think that really helps. And even adding some warm water in a trough can help horses if they're like, it's too cold for me.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Well, when I lived in Ohio, we did that all the time. Number one, it kept it from freezing, mm-hmm. so you don't have to go out and smash it 3 times a day, and and then it being warmer, they're more likely to drink it. But anytime you change your or have a feeding plan for your horse, you should do it gradually. A lot, and still a lot of times, the most common thing that occurs before I see a horse for an impaction colic is, we just got a brand new round bale and we put it out there, and they love it. And you'll have the pigs out there that just stick their head that stick their head in the round bale and barely come up for air, and they eat it all day long. 3 days later, they're colicking. Yeah. So you always want to do that gradually, and you want to introduce that sort of thing gradually, even if they've been on whatever feed stuff's in that round bale, if they've been on coastal or whatever it is. Previously, they typically don't have it free choice, and so you need to be aware of that.
Yeah, those all make sense. All great tips for this cooler weather that we're having, but it certainly is my favorite weather today. This is gorgeous. We've got blue skies and lovely temps today, so we're grateful for that. Thank you, Dr. Cayot.
You're welcome.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative with Dr. Adam Cayot. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the first half of the Horse Talk Show, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Also, thank you to our supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha Animal Health, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, Ocala Dog Ranch, Wide Automotive, and Reach Video Production.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at seminolefeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hey, this is Buck Branneman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And guess who this is?
My
mechanic.
No, it's my mechanic.
It's my mechanic. Ryan Weidmiller's here with us from Wide Automotive. And Ryan, thank you. Lovely
thank you.
to have you here.
It's lovely to be here.
He's a good friend of ours. He's also our mechanic, obviously.
And he could be your mechanic, too.
That's right. We're going to kind of use this segment to do introduction to Brian, so you can learn a little bit about him. His face, if you're watching, not just listening on the radio, can be familiar to you, and he is the owner.
He looks like Clark Kent with the glasses on.
Yeah. Superman.
With them on.
Don't tell.
So let's talk a little bit about your background, because to me that really plays into integrity and trust and all the important things that are involved in being a Marine. And you are a veteran. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And I think that really matters to people, knowing somebody's background, especially, as I mentioned to you before the show, there is an association that goes back quite a long time, sadly, that you can't necessarily always trust a mechanic, and that they might tell you things that aren't needed and don't need to be fixed or repaired, which is not, obviously, I can't speak for all, but there have been people who've had bad experiences. So share with us a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. So I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years. I did aviation mechanics when I was in there. I got out.
Not wiper blades.
But not wiper blades. That's because there aren't any on helicopters. Thank you. And then I did regular mechanicking, so on cars and diesels and trucks, and I even branched off to emergency vehicles like fire trucks and things. I eventually started my own shop in 2019. I found a need for people not to get ripped off by mechanics. I didn't want to see like the single mom or the single dad having to deal with something like that, paying for excessive things that they don't need to necessarily. So we try to put a little empathy in what we do, and maybe not sell somebody everything on earth every time. So
just what they need.
Just what they need.
Make them safe.
Make them safe on the road.
What's important, and try and work with people on their budget. Do what's most important first, and obviously the most important thing is always going to be safety.
Yes.
But it's nice to have that, and one of the reasons that we really want to introduce you is especially to our equine community, because we do know that a lot of our equestrians and trainers have what? Diesel trucks.
And trucks.
Yes.
Well, and trailers.
Yes.
Yes, and we work on diesel trucks and trailers. And so my mom was an animal cruelty officer for many years here in town, and I got to hear plenty of stories on trailers that were unsafe and things that happened when they weren't safe and they weren't inspected before road trips or things like that. And so the equine community and the animal community in general is something that I hold very close. We had a rescue farm, and so I want to make that safe for them as well, not just for the owners, but for the horses and animals as well.
And you could give us some good tips on keeping our trucks ready to be able to pull and keeping our trailers ready to be able to haul for shows,
absolutely,
local
Pete.
and distance.
Yeah, very important.
And so after any trip to like up north or something, you should have it inspected. You can have runaway brakes by overheating, or grease out of the trailer bearings go out while you're taking a trip. So yeah, we can do a full inspection, and we offer that for free even.
Wow.
I like that too, that you do the diagnostics and tell somebody what's going on. You don't have to go in there and pay a couple of $100s just to find out what's wrong, which is, that to me is that's big, because people sometimes that they don't know what's going on. They just know they've got lights, and they're not supposed to be on. So you want some answers, and it's nice that you come and get those answers. And if it isn't in your budget today, but it will be next week, at least you know how crucial it is, and you can get those answers. Then at least maybe you can still be on the road for another week, and then you can come back and get it done. So I think that helps people a lot as well. And I think our horse community is in need of a mechanic that they can trust. That, for example, when I brought my truck in, less than a week ago, I was told, I said to Jeremy, who's always so nice there when you arrive, I said to Jeremy, I really need my truck back by like 1 or 2. Is that possible? Could it even maybe by 3? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. I get a text at like 10:30. Hey, it's ready. And I mean, really, I thought, wow, that's incredible. That was hours before I even asked. What a blessing that was. So, and my key fobs, they both were giving me issues, not unlocking anymore. Came back, batteries in both of them. Everything working again. I was so excited and so happy that everything was done, and it was done early, and it was done well.
Well, I know I brought my truck in to get serviced just recently, and I was having a heater problem. And they go, well, yeah, we'd have to take the dash up, and it would be really expensive. So you'll be good if you can take it without the heat. And I was like, what? I said, I'm used to mechanics going, okay, it's going to be $1,800. I hope you can bring it in next week. And I was like, really? I don't really have to get it done? And he's like, no. So I called him the next week, and I go, okay, let's get it done because it's cold. So that's nice, because there's a lot of times, especially trainers, we're on a budget, and sometimes we can't have that big fix right when it needs to be done. And he was like, it's not going to affect anything. So whenever you're ready to do it, we're there to do it. And the other thing I like about White Automotives is Brian is personable. Like, he comes out, he talks to you when he's around. He'll be friendly to you, where you don't really get that much when you have the owner there. They don't really come out and talk to you, and he'll hang out and all that kind of stuff. And
I think you gave me that compliment too about some of the guys at the shop as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guys at the shop come up and say stuff to you.
Yeah, and they're really personable and friendly to you also. So
and I've known
great.
one of your guys for years. I know his mother, Brenda, and he came out and he's like, hey, I've seen you for a long time. So, I mean, it's a small world, but your lobby is so welcoming as well, and you have all this uplifting material that you have there on the shelf for people so they can grab a Bible or something that gives them a little boost. And then, of course, Jeremy, he always gives us
I was going to say Jeremy's the heart and the brains of the outfit, because he's making sure everything's running.
That's right.
He's the sweet guy behind the register. Yep.
He really
is. He was very much selected. I selected all the guys there. They all are very genuine, very kind, empathetic, and they try. Every time you guys come in, they try. We may not get everything right all the time, but we're going to try. So
it really makes a huge difference. Yeah. It really does. And you're located in a fantastic, right in the heart of Ocala.
Yeah, just off of the square. If you're going down the Tuscarora Bridge, going towards 40, like going out that way, we're right there on the right-hand side, and we're
it's a great location.
Yeah.
You're not far from Larson Hay, so I mean that's good.
Down 27 on your right.
Yep.
That's it. And
14th Street and 8th Avenue. Yep.
Yeah, it's actually halfway between Seminole Feed and Larson Hay. Did you know that? It's a great location.
Yes.
And I've also heard that you're going to expand.
We are.
In that
yes.
location.
In the next few months, we should have a much larger facility, 6,000 square foot compared to the under 2,000 that we have now. So we can utilize a lot more space for bigger trailers and bigger trucks and get things out even quicker than we did for you.
That's fast.
And that's the idea. that you don't have to be without your car and, wandering. What am I going to do for lunch? I have to walk there. So
no, it's great.
People,
it's fantastic.
And Brian has taken me places also. That's another perk. You have your
own. It's a little perk. Yeah, you can have a ride.
You get a ride from your personal escort.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing, and you do everything. I mean, you can do tires, repairs, replacements. You can do wheel alignments. You can do everything. I mean, you've got it all covered, right? Like body parts and accessories, everything.
Yeah, truly the dealer's alternative. If you can do it there, we can do it at our shop, at White Automotive. We don't do some body work, we don't do some painting, but
you can do the accessories and
I know places, and I know good, personable folks, so
it's wonderful.
You can just drop it off and everything is worryless.
That's wonderful. So. That's fantastic. Brian, you're amazing.
Thank you.
He's my mechanic.
No, he's my mechanic.
You can like him on social media. You can find out more information on his website about what they do. His website's fantastic. It's got all of his background and everything that they focus on, which is integrity, getting the horsemen in there with their diesel trucks and trailers, and we're just happy to have you on board with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Incredible customer service. Woo-hoo. We'll be back with the second
half. You can have one next week.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. DAC, it makes a world of difference. The Equine Performance and Innovative Center, situated on 30 pristine acres in the horse capital of the world, is one of the finest and most complete conditioning and rehab centers for equines and canines in the nation, including an equine hyperbaric chamber, aqua pacer, water treadmill, cold water leg spa, equine swimming pool, Eurosizer, and more. Epic equine veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning. For more information, go to epcrehab.com or find them on social media.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. Get noticed with eye-catching vehicle wraps that showcase your brand's identity and earn you more business. If you're looking for a custom-designed vinyl wrap for horse trailers, box trucks, cars, or pickup trucks, for a single fleet vehicle, or for 100, no job is too big for the Smash Wraps team. Make your appointment to set your business apart today. Find us on social media or at smashwraps.com. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever heard of a horse that can talk? Listen to this. With your host, Louisa Barton. She's literally in love with every horse. Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. She's back in the saddle again. And now here's your host,
Pretty.
Louisa Barton. She's a Brit, she's got the gift of the gab, and her guests are fab.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
I'm Tik Maynard, and you're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, they're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
That's Brian Weidmiller. And now we have Heather and Jeremy Reynolds for you. Brought to you by the Equine Initiative, presented by Piranha, the Horse Talk Show, and Larson Hay.
Hey, this is Buck Branneman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show on the Sky 97.3 and Equus Television. And we are here at the farm of Heather and Jeremy Reynolds. We've been visiting a little bit with the horses, got to know a few of their names and personalities, had one in my pocket that I want to take home with me already. But we like to share, especially on the CEP's Equine Initiative page, famous people that we have here in the equine world. And there's a lot of famous people here in the equine world. And Heather and Jeremy Reynolds are certainly a very, very well-known name in the world of endurance. So thank you so much for having us here, both of you.
Oh, it's so fun to have you here.
Been friends for so long. My daughter even rode here with you for a while and loved it. She said it was so exciting and such an adventure. And I'm going to say this, and I mean this in a really positive way, but you guys are quite something when I say you are humble enough to work hard with your horses, do all the feeding yourself, not have a bunch of barn help or any barn help, and yet go out there and win the top races in the world. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Yep, we do a lot.
You do.
And it's the way that we can afford to do what we love. So we would rather do the sweat equity and be able to do that much more. So that's, yeah, kind of how we've done it. We typically have 20 to 30 horses here.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
In training.
Well, you know, if I was your client and I had my horse here, and this is no offense to barn help, because there are a lot of people who have phenomenal barn help, but if I was your client, my horse was here, I'd be very happy knowing you were the hands-on people every day, seeing, feeding, working, mucking, training. That would be very comforting to me.
Yeah, yeah, and that way we get to catch everything, because we've had some great barn help, but it just is more tedious than not most of the times. To where you're ending up like having to go hands-on more than I feel like you should need to with repetition.
Yeah.
With going over, and then we like to have our own eyes on the horse's legs.
Yeah.
And see if there's any subtle changes.
That makes sense. It's really important when you're training and racing. It's important that you know what's going on with the horses.
Absolutely. Any little change. And then also when we ride them, we found if we let too many other people ride them for too long of a period, when we go to get back on, maybe the diagonals aren't even anymore. Subtle things. It's just not how we would ride. Not that it's right or wrong, but it's just not how we would want it to be.
No, that makes sense to me. And out in the field there, we met some of your horses and some client horses and cool personalities. Like, tell us about a couple. Bam was just, come on, let me cuddle.
Yeah, Bam is in your pocket. He's super, super friendly. I think probably our most friendly horse, in my opinion, is Quick. We had her mother, and unfortunately she stopped sweating, so we had to move her mother out west. But Quick is one of the 3 here that we've bred and raised, so she's super, super friendly. And Jeremy has the 2 others that we've bred and raised in his.
Yeah, one's on the walker back over here, and the other one's Treasure's daughter, Treasure behind us.
Treasure.
Yeah, and
wants our attention, I think.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. That's cool that you've bred some, that you've, had them from the start.
And we like naming them. Jeremy had a rule, he likes to have it be the barn name is the registered name. So we kind of cheated on a couple of those, but like Quick, that is her registered name, QWIK. And Cool, we thought we had all these great names picked out for Treasure's baby, of course, Treasured Moments, Cyrus T.H. Ritchie, and could have been like Rich Treasure, all these, No, the baby came sooner than we thought. We missed the whole thing. The baby's out in the field. All the mares galloped in like, look what Treasure did, look what Treasure did. And Treasure comes along and the baby comes up to us, marches up, and is like, hi. And every time that Jeremy and I were calling friends that day, we kept describing her as just being a
super cool.
Super
So
cool.
cool.
A super cool baby. So her registered name is Super Cool.
Yeah, just a fun little quick story about her is I like to trim their feet like from day one, just like a little rasp, just kind of like how nature would intend their feet to be. And every week I just touch them up a little bit. And one time, she was only a couple weeks old, she got tired and she didn't have a halter on or anything because I just got her to where she just would be comfortable
cool.
and yeah, she was super cool, easy to deal with. And her mom is my best friend, so she'd just hang out. And she got tired on the 3rd leg and just literally, I was doing her while I was sitting on the ground because she was a baby, and she just laid in my lap. And I have video of it, it's really cool. And she just lays there and just rests. And then eventually she gets up and we finish, and it just kept going. That she's super cool, so that's her name stuck. Yeah.
Hey, listen, if it fits, name it.
Yeah.
That's what we like,
exactly.
right? Now tell us a little bit about the heart and the lightning bolt, because I love that. I think that's like a little touch that's so you guys.
It started a long time ago. I think I want to say around 2008. And I asked Heather, I said, I like a lightning bolt. I just like being fast and the flash of light. I think it's cool. So I said, can you put a lightning bolt on my horse? And then and then it's just been a thing. Every time we body clip, Heather puts a lightning bolt on my horse, and then she started putting a heart on hers.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you kind of pick which horse is going to who then, really? It's like, oh, this one's going to you and this one's going to, that's how it works?
Yeah,
we start that way.
Yeah, so whenever we get a new horse, we just decide right away, this one's yours or this one's mine. And sometimes it has been where it starts out as mine and like, I'm just not clicking. And then it might become his, but from the initial get-go, if it's assigned to that person, they want it the whole career, that's how it goes.
That way we can never go get jealous and steal each other's horses. Yeah.
It's kind of who works with who.
And I did
best,
borrow
right?
Treasure for the first year that we had her, because the mare that I had, because he got Treasure, he picked her out. He knew right from the minute he met Treasure that was his horse. And I had this kind of wacky mare that was scaring me. So I stole Treasure.
Does anything scare you?
Oh, she was pretty explosive and very coordinated. And so anyways, he agreed to ride my mare for a year, and I was really trying, like, can I just stay on this one? And nope, Treasure's his.
Yeah, because normally I don't pick the horses. Heather has an amazing eye, and I mean, sometimes I'll say no go when it has to do with feet stuff, but she's really good at picking them out. So it's her joy in it. So I usually don't. So, but Treasure was one I picked out. I just had to have her.
Yeah, he met her when he was shoeing her when she was a racehorse.
Yeah.
Really?
And he just said the very first time he ever laid eyes on her, he was like, that's my horse.
Yeah. It was just the way she walked up to me to the shoeing. You don't have a shoeing specific area. You're in the barn aisle, at the track. And just the way she walked up and then just stood, she was like, just the way her eye was and her intent, I didn't think she would stand. And then she knew what the job was. She stood perfectly. And as soon as she was done, she marched off like, let's go do our other job. And it was like whether it was going to a workout or nothing, she's just so serious. Just the way she marches down to her little spot to eat. Yeah.
She's pretty amazing. Yeah. She's pretty beautiful too.
Yeah, she is.
So how old is she?
She's 13. Yeah.
And she's been in 5 Tevis Cups?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. And she's won 2?
Won 2 and then came in 3rd and got the Hagen Cup, the other one.
And then the other 2 of those 5. So Jeremy rode those 3, the cup rides.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 of her 5, we had friends riding her that leased her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And so there's normally, on a normal year, there's like 150 plus horses, the best endurance horses in the country or the world? Is it?
It's more in
mostly
the
in
country,
US?
because it's pretty difficult to fly your horse here and then do that trail.
Yeah.
Although there was a guy from Australia semi-recently, Peter Toft rode his Appy and came in the top 10. Very admirable effort there.
Wow.
Like that's pretty.
That's a long journey.
That was
and
almost
then,
15 years
That is
ago, I
pretty
think.
remarkable, though. I mean, it's remarkable that you fly a horse here. It's not even a full Arab, and it top 10s at the Tevis. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
that's
pretty remarkable.
legitimate.
Some of the world champions from Spain have contacted us a few times, and they're like, we're going to bring ours. And last minute they ask, do you have something so we could just see the course? But we planned so far in advance, we never could help them out with that. But they say one of these years they're going to come, so we'll see.
Pretty amazing stuff. Tevis Cup winner right behind us. Wow. Claim to fame here for our local area at the farm with Jeremy and Heather Reynolds. We're going to have more for you in this series. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the second half of the Horse Talk show, Palm Chevrolet. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Thank you also to our supporting sponsors, Equine Performance Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifence of Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, The Green Pharmacist, Horse Vans, Royal Blessing Rescue, and MV Equestrian LLC. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed.
Oh, piranha.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equigreen with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equigreen came to life. Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
This is Charlotte Cannon, and you are listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms. They're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And you know this is Brian from Wide Automotive.
He's my mechanic.
He's my mechanic. And now we have episode 2 with Heather and Jeremy Reynolds. Here they are. Brought to you by the Equine Initiative, presented by Piranha, the Horse Talk Show, and Larson Hay.
Hey, this is Buck Brannaman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative, and we are chatting to some local superstars here in our area, just outside the horse capital in Dunellen, at the farm of Heather and Jeremy Reynolds. Thank you guys for having us here.
Thanks
for having a good time cuddling with your horses. How
Yeah.
fantastic it is to have such top competition horses that are so friendly and affectionate. That speaks volumes about you guys. You know, there's a lot of show worlds that you go into where the horses are a little impersonal. Because of the training routine and the number of different people that ride them and work with them and all that sort of thing. But to be around your horses is fantastic. They're so in your pocket and friendly. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the amount of hours that we have to spend with them, they really either love you or really don't. and the ones that really don't love you typically don't want to work that many hours with you anyway, so they're probably not going to excel in this sport. And it's a firm belief of ours that if their ground manners are no good, the riding's not any better.
Yeah, and we kind of set it up here. Both our farms are California and here, but we everyone comes in for feed, but then they're in a pasture setting, so everyone's in herd set up.
Comfortable.
So they seem
with free
really
choice
calm
hay.
And then when they're tacked up and everything's tight. And we tack up, everything's tight, and all the horses know that they should be behaved.
Yeah, like typically in this area where we're sitting, we could fit 1, 2, 3, 4 horses for saddling right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they all just are like, yes.
Yeah. They do
because
their job.
We'll go overseas and there'll be a lot of energy in horses and there's tight quarters, and that could just be the end of your ride if you have a horse that misbehaves in that kind of setting. So
you're right. So they're getting used to whatever they have to kind of
and the commotion, the busyness of the barn.
Yeah.
If we have a new client horse in that's really fractious, we'll actually tie it here right behind where the camera is. And we'll go past them with all the buckets and the cleaning supplies and everything, and they and all the horse get loaded with the walker and everything. All the traffic is going by that horse. We're not careful around them.
Yeah.
No,
like you just need to deal and learn.
Just got to learn.
Sometimes it takes 6 weeks for a horse like, oh,
okay, this is fine.
I could stand here and fall asleep actually with all this chaos going on.
Yeah, get them used to whatever they might face when they travel, because if you have the type of horse that you've catered to every little whim and need and quirk, when you get into a different environment, they're not going to do well at all. They're going to blow up.
Yeah, well, and then imagine having a very high energy, super fit sound horse in its prime, put it on an airplane, put it in quarantine, exercise it for maybe 6 days, and then put it on the starting line with 200 horses. It's not going to go well unless the horse can handle chaos.
Yeah, and you've got a natural setting for the horses where they're in a herd. And then even watching like Treasure come in, I mean, Treasure knew exactly at feeding time how to go to the vibration plate and eat, and came straight in, right past, boom, through the broom, behind her.
Right,
no big deal.
All the stuff.
And the broom fell right behind her, and she was like, oh, no, I'm going straight. I know where I go. I know what my spot is and where I belong. But they have this comfort level of the herd, which you can see. And then, like you said, having this area where they're all tied up together, and they've got to get used to everything going on. And that's good. That's really good.
And we try to make our rules super consistent. So the rules at home for the horse are the same as the rules at the event, the rules on the road. Everywhere we go, the rules are the same. Like a small example would be if your horse rubs on you, okay, that's not allowed anywhere. So we don't allow them to rub here and then not at the event. Because what happens is in our sport, you have to hold the horse for the veterinarian to check it. And if the horse used to rubbing
on the veterinarian,
yeah,
go down.
Oh gosh, or they rub on the veterinarian secretary and the clipboard goes flying. It's just not a good look. So if you let them rub here at home, but then you're correcting them at the event, it gets super confusing. So you just keep the rules.
Professional level.
Keep the rule professional level
Yep.
every step of the way so that they just know, and then they're never disappointed in you. Like, you let me rub on you at home, but why not now? I've worked so hard for you now. It's like, well, it's just never allowed.
Yeah,
but we'll rub and itch their head.
Yeah. We're allowed to itch them. They cannot itch on us.
Yes.
And they can itch on their own leg. So you'll see our horses come into a checkpoint, and when we unbridle them, they commonly will go down and rub on their own leg. That's totally allowed.
Right.
That's fine.
And it's okay, you scratch on them, but it's not the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good discipline.
And they
to stick
understand
with.
that rule.
Yeah.
Like, that's the rule.
They're like kids.
Yep.
They need consistency and rules.
Yeah,
right?
and they love a schedule. Like, they love it. And as weird as it sounds, you wouldn't think they'd want to go on the Eurosizer.
I love this Eurosizer, by the way. I love the fact they're not tied.
They're
able
lining
to,
up. They're lining up. We had a foal once that wasn't on there because we just thought, we're going to let you just get used to the place. And at the time, we didn't have fencing, so he could go all the way around the wheel, and he would spend the time walking outside the wheel with the adult horses. So they just love it. We call it the social wheel.
It's the social wheel.
Yeah.
They're on the social wheel out there.
Yeah.
They do. You can see they're enjoying it.
Yeah.
They're into it.
Which seems weird. And we've even had it to where if horses, like the ones that aren't on the wheel right now, just raced, so they're on vacation. But sometimes those, as I'm offloading these, they'll load themselves on. It's like, are you kidding? And then we just let them walk around a couple times.
Because they want to.
Yeah, it's so goofy.
I know, they want to. They like it. It's follow the leader.
Yep.
And you can see they're animated. I mean, none of them are stopping like, oh, we don't want to go.
Yeah.
They're moving, and they are free to try to stop, and they don't.
Yeah.
So they're obviously in their routine, Now, how many times will they go around there? How many miles?
Millions and
They'll
millions.
do about, it's funny, I don't know what, 13 comes up a lot, but it comes up, we end up doing the math, it's around 13 miles.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. So they get really fit
Typically.
there in a nice,
Just
natural
walking,
way.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
walking. Yeah, how wonderful.
And we never use it above a walk. The only time I've ever used it above a walk is if we've castrated something and needs to jog a few minutes.
Yes.
But typically speaking, we never use it above a walk.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. That's an amazing way to exercise them.
Yeah, we use it as an active recovery as opposed to actual exercise.
Ah,
Yeah.
active recovery.
Yeah.
Ah.
And kind of, we go back and like horses are supposed to be moving, close to 10, 12 miles a day.
A wild horse.
Yeah, so we're trying to just bring them back to like a baseline of what normal is, and then move the gait along at a walk. It also helps their cantering muscles at a big walk. So they're doing a little over 4 miles an hour.
Yeah, we've set the speed to that with our GPS.
That's really incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So now these horses, would they have been ridden in the morning?
Yeah, well, we usually start in the morning,
Right.
and then if they're still on at the end of the day, we have two groups going, so it just depends.
Yeah, typically everyone comes in to eat, and then they're either turned out if they've just raced, or they're put on the walker, or they're saddled.
Oh.
And they'll
You've
usually...
got to have a system with 20 or 30
Oh, yeah.
horses, right?
So I
mean, you
can
have to-
feed the whole herd in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's done, and they're on the walker. Well, it's probably an hour now because the warm bloods sometimes they get really big portions.
Yeah.
So probably an hour, and then they go on the walker, and sometimes we'll have them in a surf single on the walker. The horse that need to learn how to carry themselves a little better.
Yeah.
And then typically, if they're on here, if it's a riding day, if they're a senior horse, they'll be later in the order. So a young horse would skip the wheel. It wouldn't wheel and be ridden.
And be ridden.
Yeah. So the young horse would be saddled first. We'd go out, and the senior horse would warm up for maybe the first 45 minutes while we're riding the young horses.
Yeah.
And then they'll go out. And if we're doing a really long ride, they wouldn't go on the wheel at all. Like today, we took two out on a 13-mile canter. They didn't walk.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys have to be super fit too.
Yeah, we try to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because people go, what do you do to keep fit? It's like, well...
We're at the farm.
Yeah, it's like this isn't a typical workload for most riders because you just don't have access to as many horses to ride over and over, and people have normal jobs, so we're spoiled in that regard that we don't have to do much other.
No.
Except for...
This keeps you fit.
Yeah, at Tevis time we do run.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, occasionally, and then sometimes I get excited about maybe I'll go enter a running race and I'll start getting fit.
Jeremy has done ultra 100-mile runs without the horse. 100 miles at a go with no horse, just running shoes and Jeremy.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's done.
Well, you do get off the
Tevis.
horse during the Tevison run, so
I
I guess
do,
it's
yeah.
important that you do have that.
Yeah.
Because activity, yes, keeps you fit, especially riding, but running is different on the ground, obviously. So probably up to the Tevis you do, right? You want to You want to get fit?
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about the Tevis in another segment, but we're going to wrap this one up. Louisa Barton here with the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the second half of the Horse Talk Show, Palm Chevrolet. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Thank you also to our supporting sponsors, Equine Performance Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifencer Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, The Green Pharmacist, Horse Vans, Royal Blessing Rescue, and MV Equestrian LLC. Ocala Dog Ranch offers a variety of services for your dog, including agility training, barn hunt training, board and train, boarding long and short term, daycare, day training, dock diving training and competitions, disc dog, swimming lessons and pool rentals, lure coursing and obedience training classes. Check out Ocala Dog Ranch at ocaladogranch.com. Ocala Dog Ranch is your home away from home for your dog and more.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, also online at ttdistributors.com.
Epic Equine Veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
The Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe for all your current barn needs.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hello, I'm Chris Cox, and you're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the final segment of the Horse Talk Show for this week, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms. They're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
We've got Brian here from Wide Automotive. We've been chatting about why you should go there. We're switching it up now to Complementary Horsemanship, and here's the tip of the week.
Dancing Pete's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Complementary Horsemanship. This tip is sponsored by WildlifeWorksLLC.com for your unwanted wild critters removal.
What you got, Pete?
Puzzle solving. So you should teach your horse to be a puzzle solver, and you should get good at puzzle solving. Figuring out word puzzles, the little mechanical puzzles that you get, any kind of puzzles so that you can figure out sequencing when you're helping your horse, and your horse can figure out what he needs to do without you having to help him with everything. Just like I did with Brian when I had to help him put his windshield wiper on his mom's car. Just had to put that in there because I'm not a mechanic. But he does the more complicated.
He does the hard stuff.
Yeah, the hard stuff.
He leaves the easy stuff to Dancing Pete Rhoda.
That's right.
I'm just here to be a pretty face.
If you own a horse, I'm sure you own at least one dog. So guess what? We're going to our canine expert, Neil, from Ocala Dog Ranch. The Horse Talk Show goes to the dogs at Ocala Dog Ranch.
Hi, Neil, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch. One of the things that you should always have on hand in your home or in your car, especially if you do any kind of dog sports or dog's activity, is a first aid kit. We have one for people, so you should have one for your dog or dogs. It's just an emergency, just in case you need to bandage something up before you run them to the vet. Same as what we do for people. It's just a first aid kit. It's the first aid that we give to an injury. So you can buy them off Amazon or locally, any pet store has them. And also you can make your own. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. You can read on the websites about what you should carry, you know, tweezers, maybe some Benadryl, you know, in case they get stung from something, or a little vet wrap to bandage something up. Just something to give first aid before you run them to the veterinarian. Neil, Ocala Dog Ranch.
And did you know this month is what? It's dog training. National Train Your Dog Month.
Wow.
Did you know that? And Seminole
I
Feed
did not.
Stores has lots of stuff on sale there for dogs. And you probably could even get a blanket there for your dog if it's cold, which it might be. And don't forget, Neil has a very special trainer coming, doing a dog training clinic with gold-plated gun dogs. We mentioned it earlier. That is Brian. I'm not even going to say his last name. And that is a professional gun dog and bird dog trainer who specializes in training all your hunting breeds at Ocala Dog Ranch on Southwest 110th Avenue on February the 8th. Sign up now at ocaladogranch.com.
Sezech.
Yeah. So you know what we're going to talk about now? We're going to talk about what a great time, and Pete missed it.
I forgot what day it was.
What a great time we had at TT Distributors' first Customer Appreciation Day. And I am going to tell you something. This facility is off all the charts. They have equine and farrier supplies galore. They have a whole section with everything that you could need for your farrier. If you have a farrier business, or even if you're doing a little bit of it on the side yourself, the farrier supplies are off the charts. It's amazing, a whole wing of the building.
I love the outside because it looks like a barn.
Doesn't it? It's a beautiful building. The design of that building is absolutely phenomenal, really, for what they do. And actually, I see Dana right there, the owner, great guy, and his daughter Shelby is also there. And they just had amazing discounts, fantastic giveaways. They had reps from all different businesses that supply them with all their supplies, and you know our favorites, of course. You know who's our favorites? I'm wearing their shirt. Come on, like
Piranha?
Yes. There's Ben Heatherly and Doug Walsh were there, and we got to hang out and talk to them, and they had a lot of their products on display so they could answer questions for folks that were coming in. But lots and lots of great people and wonderful discounts. They had giveaways and raffles. First people in all got a goodie bag, and it was just, they had food trucks, and it was just a wonderful day. But they are stocked up. You know, I get my dandy brushes from there that we put our logo on for our horse folks, and just a great facility, great people, family owned, wonderful team. We had the trucks. You know, we had the Piranha truck, and we had the Horse Talk Show truck, sitting up front, side by side, under the TT Distributors sign.
Did Doug bring his trailer?
No, that's what Ben said. Why didn't you bring your trailer? We could have put that up there too. But it was really great because it was right under the TT sign, right out there on 40. So we got to show off a little bit. And of course, I've got TT Distributors logo on my truck, so it was quite appropriate that we do that. But great information in there. Got to talk to some of the reps. And just learn about some other new products that I didn't know about, some real interesting products that they have there. And actually ran into a friend of mine, the McKee family, who actually created the Groom's Hand product. And it was lovely to see them there. They had a table there set up, and their Groom's Hand product now comes in this, usually you're probably familiar with the orange bottle that you often see. And what's nice about this is it has actually a hoof pick on it, on the bottom of the bottle. But this blue bottle of Groom's Hand is actually for deep thrush, like white line and things like that kind of situation. But what's nice is it actually has a little tube that goes down into like the white line in the hoof and treats it. And it's a clinical strength gel. It works on deep thrush, and it's effective against white line, and it has 24-hour activity. So after you actually squirt it into the white line area around the hoof, it actually stays for 24 hours treating it. And it has 10 times stronger penetration, vet and farrier recommended. So she gave me a bottle of this, which I'm going to try on Frosty. I was very excited about that. And then they have a new product that just a couple of years ago, or maybe less, I was actually in their shop, and they told me they were creating this. And this is Derma 360, which is a wound and skin treatment. And for those of you who have dealt with summer weather, in Florida, rain rot, ringworm, summer sores, which are a nightmare, scratches, sweet itch, girth itch. So this is their newer product, Derma 360, and she told me that it is off all the charts. So not that I'm excited about Flynn having any kind of itching tail this summer, which he often has.
You want to buy a bottle and never have to use it.
And never have to use it, yes. But if Flynn has an itchy mane and tail this summer, I'm very excited to try this. So I want to thank the McKees very much for these. And these are available both of these are available at TT Distributors. So when you're in there, you can pick up a bottle of each and you can try them too. But I was very, very excited to, yes. So
I missed out.
Yes, but TT Distributors, absolutely fantastic place. Everything you need, tack, Piranha fly spray, because that's the only fly spray. It's not the only fly spray TT sells. It's the only one we buy.
I didn't think there was.
No. Incredible. They've got tack, they've got bridles, they've got clothes, they've got everything you can think of in that store that you need. If you're a horse person, you can go in there and just get loaded up, brushes and
Yeah, their old
grooming
store
gear.
was my favorite store, but it just looked like they had piled everything on top of everything. But you could find so many great things.
Oh yes, you could. But now,
and now you walk in there and go, wow, you can still find the same great things, but now the layout is so
and
much
quick
better.
mention as well online, if you do not, I know we have listeners all over the country, if you do not live in Ocala, Marion County, they do have a website you can order online and they'll get you those products. And in fact, if they don't have what you need in the store, they can order it and ship it to you if you're leaving. So great, wonderful company. We love them. Dana's awesome. Shelby's great. The whole team. A few final mentions that we want to make. There is a gala coming up. Fourth
Outdoor
Annual
Valor.
Warriors Gala. Brian.
Sorry, were you,
Yes.
want me to go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Outdoor Valor. It's a veterans nonprofit that deals with veterans with PTSD. The modality is taking them fishing to deal with their therapy and therapeutic to combat suicide ideologies with them. So we get them out talking and then get to communicate with them and then help them in that field.
We have less than 30 seconds left.
February
so tell them what date.
28th.
February 28th.
So February 28th. We still have some seats. If you want to sponsor Piranha, hey,
Yes.
they would be perfect. They would also be perfect at the shop with another picture of you.
That's right.
February 28th. It's 6 to 9 p.m. We're going to have a boatload of stuff. Raffling some firearms and some fishing poles and some wraps
Nice.
and all kinds of
Guys
cool.
love that. This is a guys' gala.
And we have some paintings. We're going to have a live artist there painting at the same time, and some wine for from a local company down in Tampa.
We have 16 seconds, so I have to say, don't forget it's cold. Take care of your animals. Brian, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks
Whether
for
you're
having
in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world,
or not.
happy horsing around. Till
See you
the same
next
time
time.
next week.